In today's video, we're going to show you how we make our shampoo bar. It's something that, for obvious reasons, I don't have a personal interest in, but our customers really love this product, and so that's what we wanted to share with you today. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get all our oils measured out and into the pot so they can start heating. So while we've got our oils heating up, and I've already got the frozen raw goat milk measured out in a bowl, the next thing we need to measure out is going to be our lye, which is sodium hydroxide. But before we do that, I need to put on some gloves and eye protection. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this lye and slowly add it to the milk. And out of this is 18 ounces of lye, so I'm going to add roughly a third of it in there. Maybe a little bit more. And then I'm just going to kind of shake the bowl for just a little bit, and it'll start to melt the frozen milk pretty quick. And then we just kind of toss it with a spoon here and stir it. And so you can see there, just after only a few seconds, how it's already starting to melt the milk. And that's why when you're making goat milk soaps, it's important to start with frozen milk. Otherwise, you're going to scorch your milk if you don't start with the frozen milk. And ideally, you want to keep your milk under 100 degrees. I like to have it between like 85 and 90 is kind of my ideal range that I shoot for, but of course that does vary from batch to batch. And then as my oils are heating up, they're going to get up a little bit higher than where I need them to be to mix with the oils, with the milk, because I'm going to get the oils up to about 130, and then I'll let them kind of cool down to 115, 120, and then and by that point normally this milk is completely thawed and ready, and then the oils will be cooled down enough, and then I'll mix them. You can see here, so pretty much the last thing left to melt is going to be that shea butter, which has the higher melting point. And as you can see with our setup, it's very basic. Pretty much everything that we use to make soap, you can get online or at a local store. It's all easy stuff to find. A single burner, some stainless bowls and spoons. We use these glass measuring cups for the oil and the lye, and then I also use those same things for the essential oils too. The last thing you're gonna need is a stick blender, which mine is right here. This thing is pretty old. It's a Cuisinart, but I have had this for probably 7 years. I think ever since I started making soap about 7 years ago. You know, I've made hundreds, maybe thousands of batches of soap with that thing, and it's still going good. And then with these shampoo bars, you know, these are actually the molds that we're going to pour them in. It's just 2x4s cut down with some plywood on the side to make a box. And these are obviously made to the dimensions of the soap that I want, you know, but you can pour it into anything and cut it, especially if you're just making it for yourself. So I line these with freezer paper, and I put the waxy side that'll be on the out, so it'll be, so the waxy side will be what comes in contact with the soap when I pour it in. So when I come to take them out of the molds tomorrow, they'll release easy, and then I can cut them into bars and put them on the curing rack. You know, one day I would like to get some molds that are silicone, like what we make in our, we use these for our soaps, you know, and these are really nice. I made the box myself, but like all the molds, they just come out, they're just little silicone liners. They fit in nice and neat. I really like these, they're easy to clean. And I've had these molds for probably 4 or 5 years. Again, made thousands of bars of soap in them, and they don't show any signs that they're gonna need to be replaced anytime soon. So while we've got a few more minutes left to let this milk and lye completely melt, and the oils are still a little on the warm side, so we're going to give them a few more minutes to cool down. There's that last little piece of shea butter in there that's melting, but it'll melt here in just a minute. So I'm going to go wash the jars that I've used, and then we'll measure out our essential oils. Alright, so we've got our milk and lye solution is ready. Our oils have cooled down. So the last thing before we mix it all together is to measure out our essential oils. I'm going to take off these gloves because it's hard for me to open the caps with these gloves on. And this one today we are making is our basil mint shampoo bar. And it has been one of our most popular shampoo bars that we make. So now that our essential oils are weighed out, we've got those in one jar, we've got the milk and lye solution in another one, and then we've got our melted oils in this big pot. So for this final part of the process, we're going to take the milk and lye solution, pour it into the oils, and then blend it with the stick blender. And for that, I will put my gloves back on. And so what I'm going to do here for this, since there's nothing special fancy about this soap as far as any swirls or patterns, I'm going to mix it until it's a fairly thick consistency. And then I'll add the essential oils in and then continue to blend it until it's ready to pour. And so it's starting to thicken up now. You know, and that was only, what, 30 or 40 seconds of blending. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and dump the essential oils in. And then continue to blend it until it's thickened back up. You know, so what we're going for here is like a pudding-like consistency. And if you can see how, like, when I tap it, how that stuff sits on top. So we are ready to pour. You see how much thicker this last little bit is. So it'll start to solidify pretty fast. I'll take these and you see like how thick that is. Because we sell our soaps, I'm going to go through and kind of smooth them all out first to kind of make sure they're all fairly consistent in size, and then I'll come back and shape the tops a little bit. But if you're just doing this for yourself, and who really cares?
Who cares?
And then to shape the tops, I just kind of come off the sides like that. So now that we've got our shampoo bars poured into the molds, we're going to let them sit there for about a day. We'll come back tomorrow, we'll take them out of the molds, we'll cut them into bars, and we'll put them on the curing rack where they're going to sit for about 3 to 4 weeks until they're fully cured, and then we store them in bins and they'll be ready to package and sell. Alright, so here we are back at the next day. We actually made this at like 7:30 yesterday morning, and here we are about 1:30 the next day, so we're at 29 hours. So we're going to take this out of the molds and go ahead and cut it and put it on the curing rack. And like I said earlier in the video, these molds are homemade, and they're not the best, but they do work. But sometimes they're a little bit of a pain to get the soaps out. And so also what I mentioned too about having the wax side of the paper towards it, so it just peels right off. Yeah, and then the way my molds are, it does kind of make the ends, you know, you'll get some little indentations in there, but that's what I'm going to cut off. So here will be the little ends that we'll save for ourselves, and then every bar has a nice clean edge. Like I said, this batch made 40 bars and they're in 10-bar loaves. So just repeat that same process for the other 3 boxes, and then we'll be done. And if you're interested in more about the soap making process, we put out a video where we're making our hand goat milk soap, but in that video, not only do we go over the details of the process, but I mean, we share everything, the full recipe, all of our suppliers where we buy our oils and butters, our essential oils, our lye, anything that we need to make soap, you know, all the details for where we purchase those materials are in this video right here. So be sure to click on it and watch it, and we'll see you next time.